Hello, Phantom Shipmates. We'll be getting underway in a few hours for this passage. So let's take a quick look at what the weather has in store for us. So we're going from northeast Iceland, a 700 nautical mile passage to Norway, to the coast of Norway. And I'm not too particular about where I end up, Boda or Lofoten, anywhere in this area here would be fine. So this is a rather challenging, perhaps one of the most challenging passages I've made, because it's not in the Hadley cell with its trade winds and all. It's not in the furl cell with its westerly winds to carry you to Europe. This is in the polar cell, and anything goes kind of weather. So let's take a look at this. Okay, so for starting out, pretty robust winds here, but it's not quite that bad. We'll take a look at this here. So when we get underway, there we go, it's playing. Right about there is when I get underway. So 10, 15 knots, tailwind, coming up to about the latitude of Lofoten. Maybe a short spell of little to no wind. In fact, it looks like about 12 hours of that. Then 20 knots, increasing to 25, but downwind all the time, 25, which means gusts to 35. Then 20 knots coming in to a nice graceful ending. So, a challenging passage, but not a dangerous passage. We'll see how it plays out. May 30th, in the early evening. I'm sitting out of gale all day. Jenna said, well, where to now? Well, easy come, easy go. Any way the wind blows. And the wind tonight is blowing toward Norway. Let's go. The immortal words of George Banks, let's go fly a kite across the Norwegian Sea. So what was different was I pulled it out, unfurled it partially by pulling on the unfurling line, unfurling line. And secondly, based on suggestions from people, I keep the furling line under tension now with a piece of bungee cord. So it's under good tension. That wasn't too bad. We'll see. Let me trim it up a little better here. But that's okay. And it gave me what's that, 1.5. Well, there we go. I'm fairly satisfied with that. Still a lot of work to rig the thing. Back and forth to sheets, back and forth to the furler, back and forth to the halyard. And, anyway, we are now doing, what is that, 6.7 6.7 knots, and I was doing it just under 5 before. Okay. I wanted to film this shot today because it's at noontime, the 31st of May. Temperature about 9 degrees C outside. Lovely. Flying under speed, asymmetric gennaker. Just beautiful outside. And the reason I'm filming this today is because in 36 hours, this is going to be ugly. It'll be 25 to 30 knots and 45 meter seas. So, sailing across the Norwegian Sea isn't always a question of survival, but one does need to be very careful, that's for sure. But today, 6 knots, gentle cruising, just lovely. Oh. It's been cold and damp and drizzly all day long. About 5 degrees C. What is that? About 40 Fahrenheit. But look what's come out. I'm about a third of the way across the Norwegian Sea. Progress a little bit slow, but that's all right. Now is the winter of our discontent made glorious summer by this sun. Sorry, I couldn't resist. But 25 knots gusting to 35, looks like. Halfway across the Norwegian Sea between Iceland and Norway. I've got a furled Jenny out, and I had to drop the main. Without a third reef, it was just hopeless. At 25 it was difficult to control, and at 30 knots it was going all over the place. So I had to drop that square top sail without the third reef. It just doesn't work. And to drop the sail, the square top sail, I couldn't drop it heading downwind. As soon as I let tension off on the halyard, it flopped over and into the spreaders. So I had to turn the engine on and motor up into the seas. And I want to tell you, I don't want to talk about it. No, I got completely soaked by the waves coming over the bow. Oh, anyway. So, yesterday I was talking to you about blue skies and glorious summer. That's why sailors are well advised to only speak in present tenses. Yesterday is done and gone. Tomorrow is out of sight. Jenna, I need you to help me make it through the night. Show me how big your brave is, and I'll try to match it. Oh yeah. And now, a word from the sponsor of this video. A couple of episodes ago, I told you that my daughter had published the second edition of Alessia in Atlantis, a thoughtfully written adventure story for kids 9 to 15 years old. Had a lot of fun doing it. I just want to say that your response has been amazing. You know, I can't thank you enough. Now, as to the delicate question of my commission, my lawyers are talking to her lawyers, and I'm confident that an equitable solution will be found. Yeah, 33, 34 knots. How in the world did the Vikings ever manage that? You know, without weather forecasts and amazing feats. Those guys were hell of sailors, that's for sure. I think that's the bearing on my alternator. I'm just charging the battery. It cycles on and off like that. I'm pretty sure it's the bearing on the alternator. I hope it makes it to Norway. I'll have to replace that alternator when I get there. Well, the wind is coming up now, and it's supposed to go as high as 20, between 20, gets into 25 a little later. I just don't want to take a chance with the big AC. So I'm going to bring it in now. So the first thing I'm going to do is put out the Genoa all the way. Okay, it's furled. So now I'll just go through the multiple steps of bringing the sail around the front of the Genoa, laying it down on the foredeck, and then wrapping everything up. Oof. Final update, approaching Norway. So I've got just over 100 miles to run. The weather has been like this. Actually, this is an improvement. There's 2-meter seas there, and light overcast, drizzle. It's been this way for a long time. One of the things that surprised me was that my solar panels haven't worked at all. Now they're really cheap solar panels that I have. Whereas last year, in very similar weather, a low stratus layer, my relatively expensive solar panels from SunPower kept my battery charged all the time. But here, I have to charge the battery with the engine. And of course, I showed yesterday my concern over that screeching sound. Sounds like a bearing, but you know, I don't know. I'm not an expert. And it's only getting worse. It's intermittent. So that has caused me to change plans a little bit. So let me show you what we're looking at here. So I left northeast Iceland and went way up north, much further. It's supposed to be a 700-mile passage over to Norway, northern tip of Norway. And in fact, what I originally wanted to do was go to this area here that's called the Lofoten. There's some wonderful videos on them, lots and lots of sailing videos there. So I'll write down a couple names to recommend them to you. I don't think I'll be going there now because of this problem with the alternator. This really got me stressed out now. In fact, when I charge it, I open up the panel now and charge the batteries. I open up the hatch and leave it open, and I have a fire extinguisher ready to put into action there. If I'm imagining worst scenario where that bearing seizes and overheats and causes a fire. So instead of going to Lofoten, where I've been before, not on a sailboat, but I've been there before, I'm going to go to a place called Bodø right here, which is a city of 50,000 people, and I'm hoping that there will be a Volvo Penta dealer there that can sort me out to either repair the alternator or replace it, one or the other. So, picture and everything. Because I'm trying to conserve as much battery power as possible, I haven't turned on the heater. So it's wet and cold and miserable because I'm just afraid that the alternator will stop working altogether. So I'm conserving as much energy as I possibly can. I have a plan B all worked out in my head of what I'm going to do. I've only got 100 miles left to go, so I should be there, arriving there about this time tomorrow. So, wish me luck. It's funny how some life experiences transform you for life. There's a couple of Navy cruiser destroyer type ships patrolling the waters. In fact, there's one back over here. Probably not supposed to film those, so I won't. I looked off in the horizon and I saw a structure sticking up out of a flat surface. And I said, "You gotta be kidding, they've got an aircraft carrier here." And I know it won't show up on it. There, in the distance there, that structure and a flat surface. I said, that looks like an aircraft carrier. So I went and got my binoculars. It's a lighthouse on a small island. Perfect example of Occam's razor. That is, that the simplest explanation is usually correct. You can maybe hear the engine is turning right now. I'm recharging the battery again. All I was thinking that screeching sound that I was hearing was a bearing that had gone. And I started thinking, well, maybe it's just the belt. The belt is slipping or jumping or something. I didn't think that because the belt is relatively new. It's probably got 80 hours on it. I changed it just several months ago. You know, I just tightened up the belt just a nidge, and that noise has stopped. Now I may still have a problem with the bearing, but the symptom has gone away for right now. Occam's razor. Well, this is the entrance to Bodø Harbor in Norway. In 22 knots of wind. I'm hoping that once we get inside it'll be a little more protected. I'll try to remember to turn on the camera for the final maneuver. Well, Jenno, what'd you think of that Iceland to Norway non-stop? Well, it's enough for this wide-eyed wanderer that we got this far. Let's go celebrate. Hello.
Hello. Hi. I know you. Are you a YouTube guy?
Yeah.
They have Châteauneuf-du-Pape.
We have Châteauneuf-du-Pape.
Of course.
Yeah. You know, thanks anyway, but I think I'll have a cappuccino.
Oh, okay.